Hello and welcome. My name is Dave Bergland. Thank you for choosing to view my presentation on healthcare costs and its future impact on Generation Z. Now, who is Generation Z? Now, they're defined as individuals born between 1995 and 2012, 1997 and 2012, or even 2001 and 2020. I like that last one the best. These dates are sourced from a Business Review article, a Pew Research article, and a professor here at SOU. That's the last one, Professor McBee. The point is that they're a young generation, so who they are is not even defined by their dates, much less to say what they will become or who they are. But because we need a label, we use Gen Z, but it's not that specific about the time. So if you see different dates, don't worry about it too much. So if you look at a side-by-side comparison of the last 4 generations, Generation Z has a lot of characteristics in common with the silents or traditionalists. They are careful with their resources. They are risk averse, which is similar to conservative. They are waste not, want not. They like stability. And if you're familiar with the 5-cycle generational theory, it could be that Gen Z is poised to be very, very much like the silents or the traditionalists. Gen Z could become the next great generation, which is great because we need that sort of thing to fight Nazis. Now, Gen Z and healthcare today, here's where they're at. According to the sources that I've got down below, 63% of Gen Zers describe medical billing as stressful. And this is the generation, the smartphone generation. They're supposed to be really at ease with communication and that sort of thing. Now, they're more pessimistic and critical about our healthcare system than any other generation, which is saying a lot, because to have young people being much more pessimistic and cynical than older generations is quite troubling. Now, 2 out of every 3 members of Generation Z have ignored a doctor's recommendation due to expense. This is the most distressing thing because, as we all know as adults, and as we all know, and some of us as healthcare professionals, deferred medical treatment is costly down the road for the individual and for the society. So we have a whole generation beginning right now who doesn't even bother to try to find the funds to get treatment in a lot of cases, too many cases. Now, on with the so-called 2030 problem, but you might call it the 2050 problem. Again, dates are problematic because these are all projections. But what we are looking at here, and we've discussed it before at length in this class, is that we will see a dramatic increase in Americans 65 or older. We're going to have more than double the number of people in our society who require long-term care by 2050. And that requirement of long-term care is going to take up healthcare space. It's going to take up healthcare resources, including drugs, and people will need different drugs, but it's all connected, right? Also, personnel. It's going to require a ton of personnel, and if there's the same amount, and it's going to make it more expensive for everybody, unless we head it off with superior forms of insurance and other things like that. But right now, Gen Z has good cause to be pessimistic about the future if they're paying attention. Now, the healthcare cost of cynicism that I mentioned before is that only 55% of Gen Zers have a primary care physician, and that's lower than any other generation. And I think this is disturbing for young people. You may say, well, they're young, they don't need a doctor as much as other people. Young people should have a primary care physician. And the fact that so many of them don't speaks to the risks that this generation is willing to go to keep themselves financially soluble, or, to spend the money on something more frivolous. That could be the case as well. But the fact of the matter is that cynicism is costly. It's costly for society and it's costly for individuals. Now, There are unique demands that Gen X will bring to the table as healthcare consumers that will incur additional costs. Gen Z is going to want technology, transparency, and oversight, the likes of which has not been demanded by healthcare consumers before. And this is all going to cost, okay? Technology like smartphone integrated data, being able to get your blood tests on your phone, that's already happening right now. But as it starts to be demanded, or these people are going to be voting soon, as it starts to become law, it's going to become more expensive. Also, transparency. They will be more demanding of gatekeepers, administrators, reception, tie them up with more questions and emails and texts and all of that sort of thing. Generation Z demands transparency. They demand this sort of thing. And also oversight. More likely to second guess diagnoses with other doctors or internet sources. And as we all know, that will cost in all sorts of ways. So in conclusion, the costs of healthcare in the US are daunting for Generation Z because they're already disenchanted. It's resulting in treatment avoidance. They face a dim future because the amount of resources and healthcare workers that are available will be tied up in long-term care for other generations. And I hope that a thorough examination of this can help us prepare a better future for Generation Z. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate your attention, and please comment below, like and share, and hit that subscription button. Just kidding.